We're going to look at the top rookie performances from week 4 and get a gauge of how we should be playing with them for the rest of the season and ongoing too, and try to get a good value on these players. Talk about their upside. Talk about whether you need to pick them up off waivers, trade for them, send them off, whatever you need to do with these players so we can understand what's going on with these rookies. But what you need to do right now is click that subscribe button, tap it with the finger on your phone, click it with your mouse. Stop missing out on these deep dives. Stop missing out on these player lists. Stop missing out us covering the waiver wire day in and day out. Help me grind out those fantasy championships. And also we help you set those lineups as well. But let's look at these rookies going into week 5 as they are doing some things. And our top rookie from week 4 was Puka Nakua with 33.3 PPR fantasy points. And he's going off all season. It's a steady thing. He is a thing now. We've been talking about him in this rookie reports every week. And this is going to be a thing forever, it feels like. I feel like this is going to be a player that's going to be productive for a very long time. You cannot worry about him anymore. I feel like the down weeks are still going to be productive. When Cooper Kupp comes back, he's still going to have targets going his way. I think this is a late round prospect that should have been drafted a lot higher because he's really exceeding expectations when you look at the investment made in the NFL draft via the Rams and the rest of the NFL as well, because they all passed on him. But he's been productive. 10 targets last week, 163 yards. That's gangbusters. There's not many wide receivers who have that many gains like this, and he's doing it multiple times. He had a 119-yard game, 147, a low ender of 72, but caught 5 balls. That was his low game, and now he's got 163. So he's going to be productive for the rest of the season. He may have a low game here and there, but really you can count on Puka Nakua. Anthony Richardson, he blew up with just 200 yards passing. That is the Konami code. He does not need to sling the rock all over the yard. 29.6 fantasy points or a little over 30 depending on how you score your quarterbacks. But Anthony Richardson is a rookie quarterback who's developing, but his skill set is just perfect for fantasy football. He's going to be in opportunities to have blow-up weeks. He's going to be in opportunities to really score in fantasy. And then the back half of the year after the bye week, you're going to see him in some good matchups. Usually rookie quarterbacks. After that bye week, things tend to mount up for them as they are developing. They get those extra practices without a game in front of them. And you know what? You're looking at a rookie quarterback here that's skyrocketing in value right now. Next, Devon Achane. He is definitely skyrocketing. These last 2 weeks just went off in production. 27 fantasy points last week. Pretty solid there. And you know what? He's going to be a thing forever. Forever. He's going to be getting touches with the Dolphins forever until his rookie contract is up. Maybe even farther than that. It really depends on how the running back position is valued here 3-5 years from now. 48.1% opportunity share. Getting a good amount of workload, and that could increase going forward. What if something happens to Mustard? What if something happens to these running backs? What if they just decide to really give them a larger workload? 5 targets, 14.7% target share. 5 targets is pretty solid for a running back. He's so explosive. He only needs a couple touches, and he's one of the top running backs in fantasy scoring for that week. 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. Can't beat that performance. He's solid. And you're going to see him be productive throughout his career. Of course, there'll be down games. That's just a thing. And that's probably going to be the nature of the beast of this offense because they got so many playmakers. But still, you're going to put this guy in your lineup, and you know you're going to have a chance to score 40 fantasy points on any given week. Now we're looking at Michael Wilson, the rookie wide receiver, who kind of came out of nowhere for some folks last week. But he has been getting some workload throughout the year, averaging about a 75% route participation rate. He's getting a lot of opportunity. He's running routes. He's seeing a lot of snaps. Ran 90% of the snaps in his first game. That tells us the team likes him a lot. They feel comfortable with him, and he's progressing. Go look at the footage from training camp. It's on this channel. Go look at that. He's a very nuanced route runner with good hands. Go look at what he did at Senior Bowl. Go look at the practices. He's a gamer. Just like Puka Nakua, he was getting rave reviews from the Senior Bowl. That's when they were both blowing up. That's how they both got their draft capital, really, because the college production wasn't there. There were injuries involved throughout their collegiate career. They both had longer collegiate careers than expected, and they're both gamers. Go look at the tape on them, especially from the college days. They're doing some things right now in the NFL game. He saw 7 targets last week, 17% target share, and ran 35 routes, scored 26 fantasy points. I look for him to gain more opportunity throughout the season. Could be a gradual bump up, or it could be later in the year and it just skyrockets. Who knows? But Michael Wilson, it looks like he's going to be a thing. He's at least going to be heavily involved in this offense. Now we're looking at CJ Stroud, and this guy has been doing tremendous things on the football field, and I think he's going to be a consistent passer in the league for quite a long time, and there's nothing showing right now to give you any doubts unless he has something going on that really impacts him. But I don't see that happening. 72% of his passes last week were catchable. They were just accurate, going everywhere. He slings it downfield too, 11.5 ADOT per attempt. 11.5 average at the target per attempt. That is solid. Every time he throws the ball, it's going, on average, 11.5 air yards, which is up there compared to the rest of the quarterbacks. 306 yards, 2 touchdowns. His balls are catchable, they're on point, they're accurate. He slings it downfield with accuracy, which pairs well with these wide receivers. We looked at this offense going in. We thought, due to the coaching staff, we thought they were going to slow things down. CJ Stroud said, nah, just put it on my back. And he's doing it. Now we're looking at Jaleel McLaughlin. And he really had his performance last week. Got some opportunity. Played on just 16 snaps. Scored 19.4 PPR fantasy points. 10 touches. 104 yards. Thing about him, though, is he going to continue this? Is he even going to get the opportunity to continue this? Javonte Williams will be back sooner than later. Samaje Perine's still going to get some workload. This might be his 5 minutes of fame. This might be it. Or this running back depth chart turns over. He gets opportunity for the rest of the season. That might happen too. That's what we're looking at here. When you look at the waiver wire, the macro of it, it looks horrible. You may want to just take a shot, see what happens, and just release him if he fails. Because that's something you may want to look at there, just in case. You need touches at the running back position. You need somebody getting workload. That's understandable, and this could be a guy you can take a gamble on. There's not that many pieces on the waiver wire. That's very exciting. There are some running backs who are getting some workload, but you know the upside's not there. Or they're upside plays, but they're not firing yet. At least he gave you a little bit of something last week to get you excited about. Next is Bijan Robinson. Even his lower scoring games is still tremendous. He is just a player that is matchup proof because you can put Bijan Robinson in, and if the Falcons are down big, he's still getting an opportunity because he's good in the passing game. If they're up big, he's getting rushing opportunities. So he's a guy that is always going to be a heavy favorite to score fantasy points, and it doesn't even matter. Last week he had 5 targets, 16.7% target share, and this was in a slow, ugly game that we watched in Pixar animation. But 67.9% op share, and he's getting a large portion of the workload because he is a generational talent. We don't get running backs like this too often. He's going to be like this for years to come. Josh Whyle, he crossed the goal line on 2 targets, got an ankle injury, came out early in this game. I don't expect big things from him. I don't really expect that. I don't expect this offense to start wheeling and dealing the ball around. I think he had his moments. He's probably going to score more touchdowns in his career. May have more fantasy performances where he hits 10, 11, 12 points. But honestly, there's a lot of tight ends there. They're all fluky. They're all up and down. You want to pick your poison. He's not really a guy you want to start sinking your teeth into unless you're in Dynasty and you want somebody on the cheap. But honestly, you do not want to catch your roster hoarding too many tight ends because those are roster spots that could be going to wide receivers and running backs. Jayden Reed, 10.5 PPR fantasy points. He's been up and down all season, but he's been getting target share. He's been running routes. He's been getting opportunity throughout the year. Best week was in week 2 when he almost hit 20 fantasy points. 10 points last week, 5 targets, 14.7% target share, ran almost 30 routes and 90 air yards. He's starting to get deeper targets as we're seeing in these last couple weeks. That's a good thing. Getting more air yards, but he's also running less routes because Dobbs is looking better. We're starting to get Watson firing a little bit. So there's some things coming on in this offense that's going to make things a little murky. But Jayden Reed's a good wide receiver. He got drafted in the second round, top 50 draft pick. He's a player that broke out with 2 different collegiate programs. He's a savvy route runner. You can put him in the slot and the outside. He's very nuanced, and he's going to have up and downs due to the nature of the offense, but I guarantee you every NFL team would love to have him. Now we're looking at the rest of jabronis here. We got Aiden O'Connell, Sam Laporta, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Both of them scored in like the same range, so I did not want to put Aiden O'Connell as the last guy and then miss out on Sam Laporta and Gibbs. Aiden O'Connell had a rough start. Getting under 10 fantasy points for a quarterback on any given week is not a good look, but he had a tremendous preseason. One of those rookie quarterbacks who just goes off, and then we get to the regular season, and you're like, what happened? Maybe we need to give him more time to develop, more time to season, but it did not go great in his first outing. Sam Laporta, 9.6 PPR fantasy points is not a deal breaker for a tight end. That is going to be a thing when you look at tight ends. They're up and down. They're fluky. They go on runs. It's just how the position is and how it is in fantasy scoring. 9.6 fantasy points isn't much from the top end guys who are tight end ones for the week. That's just how it is. It's just if you're tight end 8, you're only a few more points than the tight end 25. Looking at Jahmyr Gibbs, PPR 9.1 last week, and we all know about this. People were upset about the volume. It was a David Montgomery game, and you're going to catch games like that. David Montgomery, although he's not a world beater, he's no slouch either, so you got to give him some props. You got to give the offense some props too. The offensive line was really pushing things back, and that was the hot hand. That's how the team should have played it, and Gibbs is going to get some opportunities sooner than later. He's going to be using the passing game. He's explosive. He runs in the 4.3s. He was good with 2 different collegiate programs. Give him some time to marinate. Give the Lions the opportunity to need him in certain game scripts. It's going to happen. His day is coming, but those are the rookies from week 4 as we look into week 5. Some of these guys you're picking up off waivers, see what happens. Some of them you're trading for or buying low for in your leagues, and some of them you don't care about or you're casting away. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Catch you on the next video.